Whatever you do it good. Ow! T-Trail, Nature's TV. I'm your host, T-Red, and today, my house. Welcome, bienvenue, brothers and sisters. Today's episode is about marijuana. There you go. Pot, cannabis, straw, brown, whatever you fancy. Marijuana. So, on one of my previous videos, I explained that I'm in somewhat of a new place at the moment because I've been abstaining from smoking, and I said I would do a video on that thing. That thing. Where'd you begin? This is a big old cookie, right? Straighten out your hoodie. That's where you begin. Gosh. Reportedly 2,000 years before Christ, although I think probably longer than that. Cannabis or marijuana has grown. The male and the female, which I suppose is quite nice in the world of compliments, hey? Hemp and cannabis. Life as we know it started off with plants outside of the primordial soup. We are plants' ancestors. We are part of the long line of lineage from single-celled animals, beings, to where we are today. And we have cannabinoid receptors. Oh yeah, we do. So that in itself goes a long way to explain that we've grown up alongside cannabis. It's a hugely beneficial plant. For us to have receptors means that we have grown up alongside it, and the plant in its natural state, not dried, not smoked, just eaten, juiced, or on top of salads, is so hugely beneficial to us. Just massively so. I'll get to the running side of bits and bobs in a while. And I suppose really we should step back in time and try and chart its history. So I mentioned hemp and cannabis. They are the Superman and Superwoman of the plant world. Literally. So hemp was, I think, the US's largest crop until the end of the Second World War. Don't quote me on that. And hemp is one of the most versatile plants. Only go out on a limb here. Probably is the most versatile plant. You can make absolutely everything out of it. Rope, cars, clothes, fuel, paper. I mean, the list is just completely unexhaustive. So, hemp was grown as a commercial product for ever, right? Like ever and ever. And then, similarly to cannabis or marijuana, its female counterpart. We've had the war on drugs now for 100 years. And it just has done nothing at all. Totally benign. Prohibition has never, ever, ever worked in any sense of the word. Prohibition has just never worked. There's something inside all of us as human beings that when someone says, you can't have that, I'm going to go and get it. I am. So the war on drugs supposedly came around on the tail end of the prohibition on alcohol. Imagine that. Alcohol was, just over 100 years ago, prohibited. I know London back in the day was practically drowning in the stuff. And again, prohibition just didn't work, so the dudes over in America quit the prohibition on alcohol, and that left them with a whole police force. Not a great deal to do. So there's one guy called Aslinger, I think his name was. Might be wrong again. They decided that with having, a police department with not a great deal to do, we need to find something. And that something was cannabis, marijuana. Reefer Madness was born. Someone killed their parents with an axe. It's a one-off, just a one-off. And that was how it came about. So, yeah, it came about by prohibition, but it's been used after that, and so I couldn't recommend the film enough as The House I Live In. And from there on in, it's been used to cleanse areas of ethnic beings. So on stop and search powers, yada. The Chinese, it started off as heroin. This was back in America. Crack, cocaine was another one, and then marijuana. And if you look at the hugely disproportionate number of ethnic minorities in prison, that's how they go about it. And it's not for me to want to say why they're in there, but we just haven't got the jobs out there to support people. So lock them up, fight them away. The idea as well of punishing someone who needs help is just nuts, totally nuts. A lot of my concepts or belief changed last year, I think it was. And this is part of the reason why it's so nice doing videos. Hey, if I can help a few people just by sharing my story and where I came from, then life's a better place, right? So it was the Trues with that jolly lovely man, Russell Brand, and he shared his sobriety story, which was phenomenal just to hear, hey. And he also made people aware of a film by a guy called, I think he was an English journalist, by Johan Mari. I forget what the documentary was called, but it looked at the reason of addiction, which isn't what we were led to believe it was. The chemicals found in marijuana, heroin, yada, they don't have hooks as such. What we were suffering from was a lack of connection in society, in and around us. And I suppose, we've been kind of mismaligned and prodded in the direction of just being statistics, a number. And I mean, community-wise, since the end of the 70s, it's just been disbanded. So when people don't feel part of something, when they don't have a connection, they will seek something externally to fulfill that connection. Whether that be drugs, shopping, food, sex. It's that missing connection which pushes us towards addiction. So for me, personally, when I saw that Russell Brand documentary, I think I'd started about 2 years beforehand, as opposed to smoking habitually, which I had done. I just thought, you know what, I really enjoy improving myself. By improving myself, reading books and watching documentaries, socialising, socialising. So I made a decision just to smoke on Fridays and Saturdays, which also works really well for long distance running. So I suppose just back to the improving myself thing, I've always found it hard to read books and get stoned. I read the same sentence about 4 times ago. But I do, I love expanding my mind. So in the week, and it does work well, I don't smoke, and then at the weekends, I have a spliff. Going out running with THC inside of you is magical. Running is magical, hey, don't get me wrong. Even today when I did my little 12k, I am so much more intuitive to my body when I start running without it in my system. And it takes me a little longer to get there. But runners produce the runner's high, which is related to cannabinoid receptors. So you can still get to that same place. You still wash your body with endorphins and just feel good drugs, being surrounded by nature, especially doing it without a watch or kind of electrical gizmos. You become one with where you are, regardless of whether you've had a joint or not. And today, I felt so good running, just super, super, super relaxed. There's a massive disparity of information between the US and the UK. It kind of makes you wonder if they got internet in them Houses of Parliament. It's hugely well documented in America. It's been in America's World, Runner's World America, and the Wall Street Journal as well, I've seen. Big publications on ultra-distance runners, smoking the reefer. Well, actually they have consumables, right? You don't want to smoke. And yeah, it just... Man, you can go and go and go and go. It's phenomenal. So it's part of that expansion and contraction very much for me, and finding the balance between the two. I suppose from where I come from, and it's easy to see the people out on the street, habitually, when something controls you, it's time to let that shit go. And as opposed to me saying never, ever, 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 I'll find a balance somewhere between the two. It's been around for ages, hey. It is an incredible plant. Like, its uses, and this is in its raw form, so juiced, or that's a good differentiation to make. Psychoactive and non-psychoactive. Alright, so when you heat the weed or the marijuana to 180 degrees or thereabouts. That then gives off the THC, which is the psychoactive part of the drug. But if you don't heat it, then you don't get high. So there's cancer, seizures, arthritis, all sorts of pain, autism. The list is just endless, and maybe this will fit back in nicely with the start. So hemp as a crop stopped growing about, let's say, 60 years ago, maybe 70, and the war on marijuana started 100 years ago. The medical companies and what's the word? Fuel companies have pushed the two most beneficial plants the world has ever seen just out the way. Why would you use hemp when we can carry on raping and pillaging the earth for oil and burning shed loads of chemicals? So we can make forks and tables, and we can make it all out of hemp and wood. So that's kind of how the prohibition came about. And I suppose I'd leave you with, you don't need anything to get you high other than super good diet, plant-based diet, right? Exercise and Mother Nature. All three of those have the ability to flip our switches, and I'd struggled with this for ages, but you can just get high breathing in that beautiful prana, man, and high by way of ascension, not a short fix. Eternally high, which has got to be a lot better chasing that, right? So there you go. This has been T-Trail, Nature's TV. I'm T-Rad. This is my house on the banks of the River Arrow. I hope you're all well. It's good to see you all. There you go. That's marijuana. So everyone is different, right? We all resonate on a different frequency. Plants have different frequencies. Plants also contain information. It may suit you, it may not suit you, but it is just the most incredible of plants. So find your own way. Lace them up, head on out, hit the trail, and we'll see you out there soon. Alright, be present, be free, be love. Peace.